Alrighty, good morning ladies and gentlemen, this is Harry Muppet. There's something in my mouth. Let's move on from that interesting start to the video and start introducing our players. So up the top left side of the map, it is Mr. Bbyong. He is 22 years of age, from South Korea, plays for the team CJ Entus. And yes, he is up the top left side of the map, as we may or may not have already mentioned. Down the bottom right side of the map is Mr. DongRaeGu, whose name I will continue to mispronounce or perhaps pronounce correctly, depending upon how you pronounce his name, which I'm really not sure of, which is why I just said what I said. So he is 23 years of age, and ooh, a Reaper. He is 23 years of age, from South Korea, and not currently part of a team? I don't know, it doesn't say. Usually it tells me if he's part of a team. No, he was part of MVP and then he stopped in the end of July this year. So apparently he's not part of a team. Yeah, so there we go. Great stuff. We've got some pretty good stuff going on over here. Mr. Bbyong going for the standard Reaper Factory Hellion Schmozzle play with a command center chucked in as well. And Mr. DongRaeGu going for Ling Speed nice and early on, so maybe looking to do a bit of harassment. The ramp is pretty good actually for a Ling Speed sort of play. It's very big. It's very hard to wall that off. It takes forever. So yeah, a bunch of Lings early on with Ling Speed could do quite a bit of damage here. We will see how it goes when Mr. DRG pulls the trigger on that Ling Speed attack, which I assume he is going to do. Because it just, that ramp is just so huge. I don't know if there's any other map which has a ramp as big as this. There probably is, but this is definitely one of the biggest I've seen. It really is. And you've got this annoying little ramp over there, which is currently blocked, but I'm sure he could unblock that if he really wanted to. There we go. Ling Speed is out. He's got a bunch of Ling. We can see here, though, that he's only just started building workers. He's building them now, sending down mules, so it's a good timing for Mr. DRG to be running in here, but he's not going to kill that much because there's not that much there, and he's starting to wall off. I think that DRG should be able to get in here before that happens, and we will see. With 4 Hellions and 2 Reapers, though, he's going to have to time this very nicely to get in there. He's got an Overlord over the top, so he can sort of see what's happening, but you can only see half the RAM. He can't see this half, which is where the Hellions and the Reapers are standing. You're starting to see the Hellions now. Starting to get a little bit of a look here. And yes, if he runs all his Lings in there, when the Hellions are there, he is going to be in a crap ton of trouble. So being very wary about just running them in. But he's only got a limited time, because once these guys get covered up, once this gate is finished, he's got no chance at all. And maybe that's what Bbyong's waiting for. He's just waiting for the gate to be finished before he sends these guys away. And so yes, there we go. The Lings moving around. They're not going in. Not going in. There's actually a Reaper back here, which is about to get destroyed, but he was just having a scout anyway, so did not see a lair coming out. Probably saw... No, didn't even see the third base. Needs to be scouting that third base. Alright, Banshee will take care of that. But moving on in. And there are Spore Crawlers already, so very nice stuff. But he's managed to get range on them. You can see the Spore Crawler just turned around to have a crack. Oh, another worker goes down. That guy's really pushing the range boundary, man, but really doing a fantastic job. So, great job by Mr. Bbyong getting that done. And the Lings just moving back, taking out the rush. I think they've given up any hope of getting in before this gate is finished. So they're just going to hold on back, and maybe we'll move out and attack that third base at a later time. But for now, the fast Ling Speed play never really got the trigger pulled. He was thinking about it, but the Overlord on top of this little thing scouted out the Hellions, and they never quite pushed out. Bbyong kept them around in his base for the longest time. Usually you send them straight out, start harassing queens and some such, and when that happens, the Lings would have been free to go in, but Bbyong never moved them out. He just kept them hanging around the entire time, and he must have known that something was up. So that's why he kept them hanging around, and DRG just could not get a break with those early Speedlings. But he might get a break here, because some sort of Looks like he just wants to wall off this entire thing. That's a pretty cool play. Means he only has to defend this little area. No doubt that wall will crumble in seconds when a lot more bigger units start coming out at the end of the game. But for now, oh, there we go. Bye-bye, Mr. Creep. Looks like the Ling's going in. Just one. Doesn't see much. Just sees a bunch of workers. See how many of them it can kill. Looks like it might be able to kill one, actually. No, it decides to run before the Hellions get there. So, yeah. Oh, poor little Ling there. Is that a... That's a Viking. Need the Ultra Zoom, I think. I just ran out of energy, but there is a 4th base here, which is probably going to be cancelled because I don't think DRG has anything other than Queens that can really deal with this Banshees. He's sending a couple of Queens out and does manage to scare them away, but that hatchery has taken quite a bit of damage. I like this play actually from DRG, getting the rocks destroyed and then moving out, because that is a very, very close 4th base for him. Usually some people would be thinking about getting the 4th base out the front, which is so heavily exposed, it's not even funny. Now this base off to the side, a lot easier to take, a lot better to take. You do sacrifice the rocks at the back of your expansion to do it, but it's so much closer, so much better. Oh, the Lings managed to get in while the Hellions aren't there, and they decide to attack the Thors. Very, very, very nice play from Mr. GRG. I think he got a bit of luck there, or maybe just great planning, but he's destroyed a crap load of very, very expensive mech units so far. One Thor, one tank going down to just straight up link play, and this is what happens when you don't look after your heavy mech units with Hellions, because Lings are just so deadly against both of these guys. And yeah, if we haven't figured it out so far, and I think I just figured it out, is going to be mech play. Whoops, I wanted to select the mutas. Oh, the missile turret! Oh, it survives. Just barely survives there. And yes, I think you may need a couple more missile turrets there. Just a couple more. So yeah, this Viking is still flying around. I think it's just been killing overlords the entire time. But DRG spreading out massively. Income-wise, he's 83 over 67, so both players in a fairly good spot. And Mr. Bbyong going for full mech is going to help a lot versus the Roaches. It's going to help a lot versus the Swarm Host as well, because tanks will just blow those guys away. Does he realize this is happening? I think he does, but this is a distraction, and the main force is the mutas coming in. There's one missile turret, but I don't know. They're not even going to attack the missile turret. They're just going to back off. And meanwhile, forcing those Roaches away, the Hellions using this distraction to actually move out and go have a go of themselves. But the mutas do catch them on the way back and do snipe them up a little bit. A couple of changelings as well, but they're sort of just sitting around looking useless. So yeah, full mech coming out, 2 Thors at a time, and we will see how this goes, because yeah, everything that DRG is building at the moment is kind of a bit dicey versus mech play. I mean, it's okay versus certain parts of mech. What he's going to have to do is he's going to have to shred the Hellions with oh, that's what happens when the Swarm Hosts aren't burrowed when you send the rally point. If they're not burrowed, they don't send their Locusts there, they actually move themselves there. And oh, the Hellions getting in range of the Locust. Oh, this could be very, very bad. We've got Blue Flame, and Bbyong is not even stopping. He knows that every Swarm Host he kills is absolutely insanely good for the rest of the game. And there he did a great job. We have 3 command centers being built, probably all for orbitals. I think he knows how many scans he's going to need later in the game with all those bloody Swarm Hosts. And we will see if this is just going to be another one of those games where the Zerg just face rolls Locusts into a win, or whether the Terran player can pull out some magic to actually take the Swarm Hosts out. Because it really does take a fair bit of magic to take out Swarm Hosts. It really, really does. They're just such a pain in the ass. But the mutas, oh man, take out the rocks. And now the way is open. There's a crap load of Roaches waiting out there. Locusts coming in, keeping the army. You can see what's going to happen right here. And unfortunately, the, whatchamacallit, the sensor tower, not watching this side. He needs another sensor tower right over here to watch this opening, but it's not there at the moment. He's moving out. He's going to try and do something here. There's not that many locusts out. The swarm hosts are a little bit open. Hellions are quite good, actually, with Blue Flame and taking out the locusts. And here we go. Roaches coming in the side. There is a tank, which will be just owning them a little bit. They do manage to kill the missile turret, though, and that opens the way for mutas if they decide to have a go. Hellions Blue Flaming them into non-existent. And now, that was a distraction, though. So the distraction I thought was a distraction wasn't actually a distraction. And this is the actual attack. Mutas coming in, doing a great job. Roaches coming in. There are a bunch of tanks that will be wiping them out, but they do manage to take out some Thors. Vikings hitting mutas away. And we even had a point defense drone knocking back the mutas attack. So, great job. But Bbyong doing a fantastic job. He's doing what he needs to do with the swarm host. And that's what I really like. He's not afraid to get in there and get his hands dirty to kill the swarm host. And that's really what you have to be able to do. You really have to be able to go in and get your hands dirty with the swarm host and actually take them out. Because if you don't, if you just sort of sit back and play a siege sort of play with the swarm host, it just doesn't work. So there we go. The mutas coming in once again, taking out most of the missile turrets. They do take out a couple of tanks and get thrown away. Bbyong is really having a hard time keeping this working, but 5 missile turrets should hopefully help the situation a bit. And there we go, siege tanks, tons of siege tanks. No way this is going to, no way these locusts are going to be able to do anything here. And does force them back, so here he goes, moving back, taking out a ton of creep tumors, taking back his base. Obviously he's thinking about taking a 4th base there or something like that. Doing a great job. Bbyong maxed out, and DRG very close to being maxed out as well. Pretty much maxed out. Mutas coming in once again, destroying so many missile turrets, and the point defense drone and with 4 missile turrets should be enough to scare these guys away, but so many workers dying there. Meanwhile, Bbyong steamrolled his way up to this 5th base? 6th base? I don't know, one or the other. It's huge anyway. And yeah, he's had a great job, but now the mutas are coming in. The muta numbers are so high. They're taking out the Vikings like there's no tomorrow. There's a point defense drone anywhere, but I think it ran out of energy in like 2 seconds. And the Thor goes down as well. And suddenly, Bbyong is a little bit screwed here. He's quite a lot screwed here. In fact, I think he was so caught up in defending against the swarm host, which of course are an extremely dangerous unit, that they forgot about the mutas, and they were just like, oh, the mutas, you know, build some more missile turrets, because they're just attacking this base anyway. But suddenly the mutas, you know, they're mobile, they can attack anything they want, and they decided to attack the main army, and there were just not enough Thors to defend against them, and the Vikings are just shit against mutas, absolutely shit. So there we go. Bbyong needs a massive amount of Thors, needs them now, but does not have a chance. Mutas destroying everything. All his workers going down. His workers were going down for ages. Still had a few, but damn, just nothing left. And the muta numbers were huge. I mean, DRG just built him up crazy amounts and had actually 2 attacking them, which is pretty crazy as well. So there we go. He shot out the swarm host with one hand, and he shot out with the mutas with another hand. And it was like punching him both sides, and Bbyong totally owned the swarm host, did an absolutely fantastic job against the swarm host. But I think one of the reasons he did so well against the swarm host is because DRG was favoring the mutas through that entire game. He was just built more and more mutas. He never got up to that 20 swarm host count, which a lot of Zerg players like to do, where it's simply impossible to not lose anything when the locusts come at your base. He only had like 4 or 5 at the end, and he was just sort of using them as a nuisance. So 7 is all he had, and he just put everything he had into mutas. And eventually the mutas just were so big, and Bbyong just didn't realize that that switch had happened, that the mutas were the main big thing on the map anymore. And so he kept building stuff like Vikings and tanks and Hellions, and the Thors were there, but there weren't nearly enough of them. And in the end, mutas hit the main army, mutas crushed everything, and game over. Bbyong never recovered. So that's it. Game done. Absolutely fantastic. I do hope you enjoyed this game, and I will catch you guys tomorrow with another one. Stay tuned.